Hey, it's Midnight Raven, and today we are going to be doing another tier list as I got such a good response from my serial killer tier list. And today we are going to be doing horror movie franchises. So you guessed it, there are a lot of horror movie franchises out there, and obviously we can't feature every single one in this video, but we're going to attempt to. So if you're new to my channel, I'm the Midnight Raven. I love horror. I'm a goth, so I love horror to an extreme, you might say. And today we are going to be looking at horror franchises. So let's put it on the board what we're going to actually be doing. So here we have my tier list that I have made. Obviously, these are going to be my own personal opinions on each of these franchises. There are a lot of franchises. If I scroll down, yeah, you guessed it. So there are a lot. Obviously, we can't feature all of these in one video, but we are going to feature some. So what are we going to be ranking these horror movie franchises on? So obviously, best-selling is the ones that you really wait for every movie to come out and you want to go see it. We got a must-watch, one that you'll watch but not necessarily revisit every year. We got a mid-range horror, which, you know, piqued my interest but didn't keep my interest. We got the not worth it franchises where they were just sort of hit and miss and you weren't really bothered if they then made another one. And then we've got the bargain bin, which are the franchises that I believe should have never happened, or they should just stop. Know when you've got a bad franchise and just cut loose kind of thing. So here we have the list. So we're going to go through. Obviously, I'm only going to do the franchises I know. This was a predetermined list by Tier List Maker. I'm not sponsored or affiliated. So we're just going to go for the ones that I actually know. That way I can give you my insight. So the first one, obviously, if you are a goth fan, a horror fan, and you haven't watched The Exorcist, you haven't lived. The vomit scene in there is something that you're not to eat your dinner over. I tell you, don't eat your dinner over it. And some of the things they say is a bit vulgar. So if you're like of a predisposition, maybe not watch The Exorcist. But it's a brilliant movie and everyone should watch it at least once. Okay. Let's pick the Human Centipede. Now, people, watch the Human Centipede if you have a strong stomach. Again, horror movies are not for everybody. And there are different genres which makes horror great. But some genres are just, for me. And Human Centipede, not worth it. I do not have anything good to say about Human Centipede. For a horror movie, I can tolerate anything, but this one was just a little bit too far. Just no. A little bit too far for me, a little bit too out there in the whole concept. Executed well, mind you, but it's just not for me. Some films are for me, some films are not. Okay? Well, we have to draw a line somewhere. Okay, next. The Scary Movie franchise. Obviously, they brought 5 films out, I believe it was. This was a laugh a minute, but some of the jokes were corny. It's a mid-ranged horror. You did go to watch them in the cinema. You wanted to see them when they came out, but you weren't like clawing at the bit to like watch them. It was only because it was out you kind of piqued your interest, in my personal opinion. Let's pick another franchise. Cloverfield. Now, Cloverfield, we'll just put it on the board here so I can see it. Now, Cloverfield for me, I didn't like all of the franchise. Cloverfield itself was good. And then you've got Cloverfield Lane, which is meant to be like a follow-on, spin-off kind of thing. Again, I wasn't really feeling Cloverfield. And then they did a third one, which I can't remember the name of, to finish off the series. But it is a must-watch. I think the monster in Cloverfield, if you want to call him a fish-like monster, with his ears and his look and his long arms. He is freaky. He is a horror movie monster, if you want to call, that I actually kind of looked at and was interested in. Cloverfield Lane, not as good as Cloverfield, but it is worth watching. So let's go for... I don't want to go for the obvious. Okay, we don't want to go for the obvious movies that everybody has seen because we want to... Okay, what about... I Know What You Did Last Summer. So, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I Know What You Did Last week, last year. They did so many movies of this. It became a bit... kind of like Final Destination. It became a bit repetitive and became a little bit boring. Like, yeah. And for me, it's just a mid-range horror. I don't put myself out to watch them, and I didn't back then either. And it's not a franchise I'm going to sit at home and suddenly feel, oh, I need to watch. It's just not. It's just not one of those ones that I've gone back and said, yeah, I need to watch this repeatedly. Now, here we have one, Gremlins. Now, Gremlins, for me, is the perfect kids horror. The perfect kids horror movie. And for me, it's a bestseller. You tell me anybody sort of a reasonable age that hasn't seen Gremlins, whether it's at Halloween or watched it at Christmas. I am sure your grandparents have watched Halloween, let alone small kids of maybe, say, you know, sort of 10 upwards. Everyone loves Gremlins. It's a classic. And for me, yes, the second film was a bit, yeah, and you probably could have just not watched it and just watched the first one as like its own, which you probably could do. Next on the list, we're going to be looking at Hostel. Now, Hostel is a 3-film series. The first one features around 3 boys that go away on holiday. One of them goes missing, and then the other 2 seek out to find him. Now, when they do find him, they find that he is being held by an underground killing ring, and basically he is up for sale, where these cult people basically pay to torture and kill him. The second film in the series features 3 women along the same premises. One of them goes missing, and then they all go to find her, and yeah, it doesn't go very well. Third one I haven't actually seen, but I've heard that it is horrendous. With all franchises, you can't have everything good. So I would say it's a watch. They're not the best horror films in the world. They're more like a, yeah, you could watch them on a Saturday night if you were bored kind of thing. Next one I'm going to do is Resident Evil. So these have been churning out so many films. It's come to a point now where you're just kind of not excited when they say a Resident Evil film is coming out. You're just kind of bored of the franchise. To me, I don't like the franchise. I think it's not worth it. I think it's so discontinued from the actual video games, and the movies themselves are kind of disjointed. I don't think it's a film to like put yourself out to like go and watch. Okay, another one, an old school film again, is The Fly. Obviously there have I've seen the original once. It wasn't overly like overwhelmed by the film, but I thought it was okay, so we're gonna put it in mid-range. Okay, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Now, I've seen this once, along with I've also seen The Blob, I think it was called. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is a tongue-in-cheek, old-school horror that was just so crazy. So crazy. I have to put Attack of the Killer Tomatoes in the bargain bin. I thought it was terrible. It's filmed terrible. The story's terrible. The believability of Killer Tomatoes it's just crazy. It's just a crazy film, okay? Just go with that. What else have we got on here? Okay, Lost Boys. Obviously me, hi, goth, Love vampires. Why wouldn't I? Lost Boys. I've watched the first one. It's not a bad series. I would say for me, it's best selling. I liked the Lost Boys series. Being a goth, I mean, hello. Lost Boys, absolutely love it. Next, we're going to go for another classic, Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, where I stand on this, and hear me out, the originals, kind of the early ones, like 1, 2, maybe 3, were kind of okay. And then you go down the line, and no. We just, Nightmare on Elm Street, what was it, the dream sequence and stuff, it just went a bit far. So for me, it's a mid-range. Sometimes, hear me out, you have to know when to stop a franchise before it just becomes too much. You need to stop when the good is going. When it's good, it's good. And when it's bad, yeah, it's bad. Okay, another franchise. Here we go. Another franchise we're going to look at is Jaws. Now, obviously, Jaws hit the headlines back in the day of being scary, and basically it's just a great big shark in an ocean that happens to attack a boat, and it does kill a few people, mind you. It does kill a few people, but it comes back and back and back, and sometimes, like I said, know when a film is good and just leave it. So we're going to put it in must watch. I would suggest watching all of the Jaws, because once you've watched the first one and it's really good, you really don't need to watch the rest, but you can watch it. Now, another one for me, being a goth, would be The Omen. I see, The Omen, spawn of Satan, basically Damien. For me, it's a hard one. I liked the film, but I wasn't like, yeah. So I'm going to put it in must watch. I think everyone should watch The Omen once. Maybe not repeatedly, but once. Okay, let's see if we can find a franchise that can go in the bargain bin. We love the bargain bin. Okay. Bargain bin films. Don't really see any. Although, yeah, I don't really see any. Okay, so let's see what else we can go for. So here we go. Wrong Turn. Now, this was a film I've watched maybe the last couple of months, and I didn't like it. Just the whole film was just kind of slow. The kills weren't very good, and it was just kind of shoddy workmanship just to throw a film out there. Now, the Evil Dead, I don't know about you, but I would go for best selling. I loved the Evil Dead movies. The Evil Dead, and then you've got Army of Darkness. Absolutely loved it. Even loved the TV series for the Evil Dead. If you haven't seen that, there is a TV series. Okay, another franchise I can take or leave. You're going to hate me for this, is Blade. I can feel the heat from the burn that I'm getting from you guys. Blade for me was just kind of tongue-in-cheek humor. It was kind of a bit over the top. And if I'm honest, it's not really my kind of film or series. Okay, another one that I believe was great was Tremors. Tremors, I believe, is best-selling. The first film with the graboids in, the original, was perfect. The second film, yeah. Third film was terrible. Sometimes, like I said, you have a really good film, they bring out a sequel, they kind of do okay, and then they bring out another one, and then it's kind of like, yeah, we should just stop, shouldn't we? Okay, next one. You know where this is going. Beware of the Blob. I mentioned it earlier. Some films should just never be made, but back in the day, horror was just horror. People just threw together quick movies with no real kind of story, no real thought into it, because they didn't have the money to do that kind of thing. Another film, bargain bin worthy, Sharknado. If ever I have seen a more terrible film, I don't think they've invented one. The whole Sharknado series, I sat there one night watching it with my little boy. He was probably 10 or 11 at the time. And it was horrendous. Sharknado 1, Sharknado 2. Then it got like 2 heads, I think, in one of them. And my son absolutely loved it. He was so into these great big sharks. Just stop, people. When you know a film is bad, just stop making them. Another film that I want to put in the land of the next film I want to put in the land of not watching, if I can, because the laptop's actually breaking at this point. Okay, we're having technical difficulties right now. So we might have to leave it there for the video and come back to it if I can not get it to work. Okay, so next we are going to do this one, Mega Shark. Mega Shark again, bargain bin. Everybody's going to be like, why don't you like Mega Shark? Same thing for Sharknado. It's just over the top, crazy storylines, ridiculous kind of thing. And I don't know about you, but I kind of like horror. I wouldn't say believable horror because some movies aren't. But just horror, you know. Next, Final Destination, mid-range horror. I don't know about you, but I don't overly like Final Destination. It's not the pick I would go for. And in all honesty, I can't say that I would miss it if they didn't make another one, if I'm honest. That's my personal opinion. Okay, Child's Play. The Child's Play was the start of the series where you then got Bride of Chucky and Spawn of Chucky. The Child's Play I didn't really like. Bride of Chucky I absolutely loved. Spawn of Chucky was weak. But the whole Child's Play series as a whole, it's mid-range. I'm not overly excited by it. I don't hate it. I just don't love it. Okay, another one to go in the best-selling series would probably be Hellraiser for me. I liked the whole Hellraiser series with Pinhead, the Cenobites. If you haven't seen this, it's not for everybody. The Cenobites do enjoy pain and death and all that kind of thing. So if you're easily offended by blood, if you're easily offended by pain, BDSM and that kind of thing, it's not really going to be for you. Let's just say it's not going to be for you. Okay, and another franchise they should just stop making, in my eyes, is Halloween. It's been done to death. There is even a new Halloween, I believe, out this year. I don't like the Halloween series. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's been so overhyped and so many films. It's now become just churning them out for the sake of churning them out under the Halloween banner. And I think they've lost what the original Halloween had at the start. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Another one I think they should stop making is Friday the 13th. I think they've made enough films now in franchises back from the, 80s and 90s that maybe they should just stop and try and come up with something new and original instead of rehashing the same old villains and the same stories kind of thing. But that's just my personal opinion. And another one that I think is mid-range horror is Insidious. Now, I've seen the first one. I haven't seen any of the others. Now, Insidious for me was kind of interesting because I do not like the paranormal. I'm not really into demons and all that paranormal stuff. But Insidious caught my eye when the trailer came out, and then it made me want to watch it, which is always a good thing. If you can get a film that actually piques my interest by a trailer and actually makes me want to go out and watch it, then you've done your job. And then the last one for this video is the Saw franchise. And you guys already know I love the Saw franchise. Best-selling, top of the bill, out there with what I say is the greatest horror franchises ever made. Apart from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, maybe, which was also a series that started off well but then tailed off. And I think Saw did exactly the same thing. I think the first four Saw maybe caught my eye, got me into the series, and then as they went on, they became maybe a bit unbelievable. And then obviously you've got the new spin-off series now called Spiral, which I haven't seen yet, so no spoilers in the chat. I haven't seen Spiral, but I plan to. So this is the start of my franchise series. Obviously, as you can see on the board, there are tons more franchises which we're going to have to do in a second video, ladies and gentlemen, because we have hit the 20-minute mark and I don't want this to overrun. So just to recap for the people that are still watching this, the best-selling series for me so far are the Gremlins, the Lost Boys, Evil Dead, Tremors, Hellraiser, and Saw. And the movies I wouldn't bother watching would be Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Beware of the Blob, Sharknado, and Mega Shark, and everything else kind of fits in the middle. So if you want to see part 2 of this, give us a big thumbs up, like and subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel, PayPal link is in the description. It helps fund my time while I'm doing all these videos because they do take a lot of research and a lot of time and effort. So if you want to sponsor the channel by sending some money via PayPal, it all goes to fund my movie snacks so I can watch the movies. If you want to see more from me as well, you can check me out on Instagram. I'm the Midnight Raven. Like and subscribe, and I will see you all very soon for another video. Take care and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.